with that. I don't know what happened in the intro there. Just showed some random clip. Oops, my fault. Anyway, welcome back to Stallone Network. Sorry I didn't go live last week. I got pretty busy, but I'm here and I will be going live. Uh, yeah, I should be going. Sorry, I had to make sure I was going live next week. But yeah, we're going live next week as well. And also, one more thing, I actually messed up the thumbnail. Since episode 9, the thumbnail's supposed to be episode 10. My bad on that, but it's what it is. I'll change that later. But yeah, so I'm sorry I missed last week, but I was busy. But we're here. And today I want to talk a little bit about Rambo and his character because although I do love Rocky, he's my favorite fictional character. Rambo is very interesting as well and interesting to talk about him. And also a lot of his movies like Rambo 2 and 3, I feel like they get a lot discredited a lot. They look at them as kind of bad movies, people. And I think they're actually pretty good movies. So we'll be talking about that as well. But before I start that, I do want to bring something up real quick. I did let me share my screen. I did make a new video, which I worked really hard on. It was what if Rocky retired in Rocky 2. I did a what if Rocky a long time ago. Let me try to right here it is. Over a year ago. What if Rocky never fought Apollo? I was planning to have this be a big series and just do a lot of these, but I got busy and it's been like a whole year. But I'm finally back to doing them, and this is one is it's really interesting. I worked really hard on it. Um, it's basically the whole first Rocky movie happens the same. It's and the first kind of half of Rocky 2 happens the same. It's more of just what happens after that, how that could change the whole franchise. So it's pretty interesting if you check it out. I plan to do more. Rockies also some what ifs on Rambo's. There's not too much I can do with the Rambo's. Because I feel like it's more of just him and Troutman. Um, Rocky, it's all sorts of different people, so it's kind of hard to do it with the Rambo stuff. But Rocky, I plan to do a lot more. I feel like my next one will be if Rocky lost again in Rocky 2. That could change because if he didn't retire in Rocky 2 and he actually did fight Apollo, what if he lost? That could change that could change Apollo's story and Rocky's story. Or even if Rocky 3, what if I'm trying to think here. What if Rocky lost against Clubber Lang? So a lot of stuff. But yeah, then also I might do a couple with the Creed movies as well. But I'm not sure about that. But we'll have to see. But I'll check this out. I'll check this out if you haven't saw it. And yeah, I plan to do more. They're just really hard to make. Yeah, you got to get all the clips together, so it's pretty difficult. But I plan to do more. Oh my gosh. Anyway, yeah, real quick. W Netflix recommendations. Shoot, bro. Rocky 4 on Netflix. Let's go. Happy that's on Netflix. It's been on there for actually quite some time. I don't know if they're ever gonna. Hopefully they keep them on there. I have all the Rocky movies on Blu-ray and DVD and one on 4K, of course. But it's always easier to watch it on streaming than getting your Blu-ray player and everything like that. So it's a little bit more easier. But I'll watch it any way I can. But anyway, so yeah, talking about the Rambo movies and the Rambo character. A lot about First Blood because I actually made a list which I plan to do on this other channel about like my top 200 favorite movies. I know I'm that crazy. I took the time to do that, but hey, everyone gets bored. I was talking, and yeah, the Rambo First Blood is up there because that one I think that's my second favorite Stallone movie. It's right behind Rocky. I like it better than all the other Rocky movies besides Rocky 1. And it is such a great film. And it really just kind of just changes of what people think Rambo really is. Because Rambo 2 and 3, he just like a killing machine, just running around, no shirt on, shooting millions of people. Just like this huge action here. It's action figure kind of. So it's kind of, bro. So you're really yanking my chain on this one. This is, yeah. Oh my gosh. Rocky 1 and 2 are the best ones out there. Rocky 2, I love Rocky 3 and 4. They changed it. They changed the pace. It's more up paced. It's more upbeat. It's more like flashy and stuff, and I love it. I love it like that. But yeah, you gotta take into account of the magic of the first two Rocky movies. I think that's my kind of movies. My kind of movies are the slow paced, character study. I'll be like, oh, that's boring, but I really like the slow pace storytelling and just really understanding the character because I rather understand the character than understand the story. I rather understand it because then the story will just kind of form itself. And I feel like why that works so well in Rocky One is because how the whole thing was behind the scenes of Stallone and how where he was at that time in his life. So I really think that kind of just plays on screen and it's just amazing and it's just an amazing film. So that's my favorite movie. Every time I watch that movie, I can't just watch it like I'm watching any other movie. It's a movie that kind of just I can't look at watch that movie without considering everything that happened offset and Stallone's story and everything that's happening on set and just a Rocky character and how far he comes and how far he comes with his arc, everything with that. Sorry, I saw a funny joke on my laptop, but yeah, it's just I really love those movies. And Rocky 2 kind of does play it. When I first watched Rocky 2, I liked it more than the original just because it basically takes a lot from Rocky 1, but then it just kind of makes it more like how do I put it, like more suspense to it. But I still put Rocky 1 at number one because it's just I love it so much. Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, here we go. But anyway, back to Rambo real quick. I want to talk about Rambo First Blood. Because when people think of Rambo, they usually think of like what I described. But Rambo First Blood is a far more different story. It kind of reminds me of Rocky One, of it being more. I want to say slow paced. It's still a good action movie, but it does really take into the character of a part of it. Because he only killed one person in that movie, and it's that cop, and he did it on accident. And there's even a scene where he goes up to him after seeing the body, and he looks terrified what he did. Because Rambo, he was a Vietnam vet. Um, and this is why I think just make a Rambo prequel, the scene in Vietnam. There's so much. I mean, Stallone's talked about a Rocky prequel, and no offense, I think a Rambo prequel would make a lot more sense than a Rocky prequel. I think because the Rocky prequel, there's only like you can do stuff. I agree. I would like both, if I'm being honest. But a Rambo prequel, there's so much stuff. With the stuff in Vietnam, and of course the stories that he tells that happens in Vietnam. Of course, the bomb going off and everything. Also, him being taken to the POW camp for about a month. There's actually a Rambo video game that actually shows a little bit. The beginning of the Rambo video game for the PS2, it shows Rambo escaping the POW camp, which is pretty cool. But yeah, then basically his whole crew dies. There's only that one survives, and he goes to visit him, and then he found out he died from cancer from all the infections that happened in Vietnam, and he's being treated terribly. You know how Vietnam vets are being treated terribly, and I've always been like, if you disagree with the war, I mean, you can't really disrespect the veterans though, because they're just doing their best, doing what they're told. So yeah, and then just him coming into the place, getting disrespected by the prison guards, getting and then just being, beaten and really just pushing to see how far a man could go. And I think that really shows Rambo, and it's about the PTSD of after a war, and it really just shows how capable he is. And it shows that he doesn't want it. He doesn't want to kill people. He doesn't want to be Rambo. Rambo does not want to be killing people. He doesn't want to be because he's probably one of at least in the Rambo movies, he's like the best. That's his profession. Like he's really good at killing. He's really good at that, at like combat. But he doesn't want to do it. So, and that's why I think Rambo Fritz was so good. It's just pushing the man so far where he just goes crazy and he's just going more Spence coming up higher and higher as it goes on. So we love Rambo First Blood. I think it's a really underrated movie in just culture, and I really think when people think of Rambo, they don't think of the whole character's arc and everything because they think of like the guy with no shirt on, red handband, shooting a machine gun. When that's really not what it's about in the first one. And I'm not mad about the change. I actually really like Rambo 2 and Rambo 3. I think it's fun action movies. And I think that's probably the right way they could have went. I mean, I don't think they could really add too much more into the story after First Blood besides just having it be an awesome action movie. So I'm fine with it that way. But I do think people need to understand what Rambo's character truly is. Because it's not just, a shooting action hero. It's just a lot more to it. Which I know you don't get to see as much in the others, but I recommend rewatching First Blood and really just understanding Rambo's point of view, and it's really interesting. So, yeah. Gosh. I'll say this about Spy Kids free. I used to watch Spy Kids a lot as a kid. Now I think about it, that might have been my first movie I watched of Stallone because as a kid I used to watch Spy Kids, but I don't remember watching that one as much. So I guess you can't really say it's my first movie watching Stallone technically. But I don't know why Stallone agreed to do that. But I guess it is what it is. But I don't know. Uh I remember there's one Spy Kids movie that was pretty good. I think it was the first one, but that one I actually rewatched it a couple times just for the reason Stallone's in it, and oh boy, yeah, I don't know what the hell is going on. There's a girl with pigtails flying in the air. I'm like, what in the living hell am I watching? So yeah, I don't know what that is, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah, so either that, and then of course Rocky Balboa, the Rocky Six, are kind of the first ones I watched. I only watched Rocky Six a couple times. It wasn't like it wasn't like identically a childhood movie. I would just watch it there and there. I would more watch the training montage scenes. Because and I also like the Rocky music. I used to like to listen to that. So, but yeah, that's technically my first introduction. Then of course when the Creed movies started becoming popular, I was like, oh, let me watch these Rocky movies because I watched Creed 2. I loved it. So I was like, let me watch these Rocky movies. Watched it from Rocky 1, loved it. Watched it from Rocky 2, continued the Rocky movies. It was amazing. Then it went on from there. I watched the Rambos, watched all the other movies, and yeah, Stone's definitely. I think he is, as far as acting abilities. I don't think he's the greatest acting actor of all time. Of course, acting abilities. I think he's a great actor with his abilities in it. I mean, he got nominated for an Oscar twice, lost both robbed from him, by the way. Uh, yeah, I mean, I think he should have won Best Supporting Actor in Creed. He got nominated, and then some random guy won. I didn't know who he was, frankly. And then he got nominated for Rocky for Best Actor, and that went to the guy in Network movie, which I won't be biased as much as I loved Rocky One. I do think Robert De Niro should have won that in Taxi Driver. As far as acting abilities goes, he was insane in that, and neither Stallone or De Niro won that. It was the guy in Network, which I'll admit it was good, but I don't know, man. I just don't see it as 1976 was a good film for such a good year for films, and I feel like it could have went something better than that. But Rocky did win Best Picture though, so that's good. Won a lot of things. Yeah, that was strange. I mean, I watched those movies a long time ago. I've only rewatched Spy Kids 3, or I guess Spy Kids 3D. It's like in 3D. It's because it was in theater. It was supposed to be in 3D. There's a lot of weird shots of them like putting stuff up to the screen, and it's like, what are they doing? But I'm like, oh yeah, this was originally released in 3D, so it just looks weird when you're watching it normally because it's just them doing this for like 15 seconds straight. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, oh, it's supposed to be in 3D. I forgot, but I'm not watching 3D. I'm watching off freaking my DVD. So I don't know. But it was I only watched that because Stallone was in it, and I was like on a whole thing of watching all his movies. Um, but and I when I got to that, I was like, oh dear. But it was absolutely not. No, no way. Creed Free, good boxing movie. That's all I can give it. It's like a mid boxing movie, and that is the last phrase I should be thinking or even feeling when I'm watching anything to do with Rocky. The final fight felt like an anime fight. The pacing was terrible. It wasn't a character study. So it wasn't doing what Rocky 3 did or what Rocky 1 did. Rocky 3 was kind of fast paced a little, and it was kind of just more upbeat, bringing the story along and bringing the funness. Rocky Creed 3 did not do that. It was kind of just dragging it, and it wasn't also like a character study like Rocky 1. It just moving fast but also slow, and it just kind of felt weird. And it just felt like everything was happening once at once. It didn't feel like a straight story. It didn't feel like they were. It feel like they were just writing scenes. They weren't writing a story. That's what I thought about it. And then yeah, I mean I love I think Adonis was a great in it. I love Adonis character. The villain was amazing. And besides those two things, everything else was just basic, boring boxing drama that I can find in any random boxing movie that I can look up. There's like boxing movies are becoming so cliche now, and I feel like Creed 3 kind of just was doing that. It had a couple of good things in it. Besides that, it was pretty boring. The training montage was not that really good. The final fight felt like I was watching anime. Not a compliment, by the way. And it just wasn't. It just didn't have the Rocky spirit to it. And partly is because, and but you could partly say because Rocky's not in it and Stallone's not in it. I think that's an aperture to it. But even if Stallone was in it in the story, I still don't think it'd be good because it was missing something. Um, it just felt like stuff was happening. It just felt weird. So, um, I think if they're gonna make a Creed 3 without Stallone. First off, I think it's a bad idea. I feel like if you're gonna do a Rocky spin-off about Rocky, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. But if you're gonna do it, at least give it on his own story. Don't forget the Rocky's past, which they kind of did, but they kind of did it not so well. And then make it original, make it something that boxing movies have not seen before, and give something really fresh and new to it. But also don't forget where you came from with the stuff that happened past. And it did hard. It was definitely something new, and it wasn't in a good way. I'm not thinking it was terrible. It's a bad film. It's just like I don't know. I feel like it should have been more. It was disappointing. From Creed 2 to that, it was very disappointing. Creed 2 was amazing. Creed 2 had real emotion in it. It had real like you're watching on the edge of your seat. Creed 3, I'm like, oh, let me guess. He loses to him. Oh yeah, let me guess. He's gonna get knocked down. He's gonna start punching the floor. Then get up. Gonna start playing the music. I could write it with like freaking ChatGPT at this point. That's what it felt like, and it just felt like it just felt like a cliche boxing film, and I felt like it should have been more to it. And maybe because Stallone was not involved in it. I feel like if you're making anything to do with Rocky characters or Apollo Creed's son, you should have Stallone be involved in it. And Stallone didn't want to be involved in it because the producers are a-holes who won't let him have the rights to the franchise or any of the rights. So I guess it is what it is. If I think they should just leave it alone now. If you want to make a Creed 4, it sounds ridiculous, but I think you got to bring Stallone back if you're doing a Creed 4 because that would be ridiculous. Because I don't know what they're doing. Yeah, I don't think it was terrible. I'm not saying like it's like a bad movie. I would actually say it's frankly kind of good movie. It just was missing something. It was just like it just felt cliche to me. If you know what that's the best way I can put it. It felt cliche and it felt like it does not fit in the franchise at all. It doesn't fit in the first two Creed movies. It doesn't fit with any of the Rocky movies. It just felt like it kind of its own thing, doing its own thing, doing this stuff. It just felt like any other boxing movie, and I don't know. The Flash backstory was good. The backstory. Are you talking about? Wait, the Flash. Is that a character in Creed 3? Because I do not remember. I don't remember those names. Let me look it up. You're talking like the backstory with Adonis. Is there a character named Flash in Creed? No idea. Well, I will talk about the backstory in Creed because the opening scene is like this gang fight, and right off the bat, it just felt out of place. Like I know they're exploring different things, but seriously, we're having guns and like shooting a part of the Rocky universe. Like it just didn't feel there. It just didn't feel right. So I don't know. It just felt out of place for me. So I don't know. But anyway, I actually did make a little edit on my thing of me ranking all the Rocky movies. I'll show you that real quick. Here it is, all the Rocky and Creed movies. So, and yeah, my list is something I get mad at, but it's just my personal opinion. Anyway, it's just my opinion.
Women
The last play Creed 3. Now, I know people might get mad at me for putting Creed 3 and not Rocky 5. The thing is, with Rocky 5, it still had an emotional part to it that kind of just gripped me. And it was that scene where he was in the Mighty Mix gyms having the flashbacks of Mickey. That was great. And also just his speech with Adrian was great. And just kind of just the idea of Rocky going back to ground zero was a great idea. Now, the way they did it was terrible. And I'll admit that. Rocky was a bad movie, a bad Rocky movie, but it still had the Rocky spirit, just like Creed 2. But Creed 3 just feels like the odd one out. It feels like just like the odd one out, it just doesn't feel right. So I had to put it at last place. Not because it's a bad movie, just because it feels out of place. It doesn't feel like it should be a part of this franchise. It feels like it should just be any other boxing movie that's in theater every other Friday. And that's I don't know. I can't really put any higher than that. Rocky 5. Then yeah, Creed 1. Now, I will say this real quick. I don't think I hate the Creed movies. I'm hating on the Creed movies. There is a huge gap between Rocky 5 and Creed 1. I feel like Creed 1 is far better than Rocky 5. Creed 1 was amazing. They bring a new character to it that it doesn't feel forced, and Rocky is still a big part of it. And Rocky's story continues in this in a good way, and the way they continue his story is also adding to Adonis' story. And Adonis' story is adding to Apollo's story, and it's just such a great movie. And I wish I could put it higher, but the other movies I got to keep it a little below. I'll say Creed 1 is the most rewatchable film because it doesn't really have a good training montage. It doesn't really have like a appelling villain, just that one random guy. The final fight is all right, so it's just more about like that relationship between Rocky and Adonis, and I love that, but I feel like they could have done a little bit more, and they do in Creed 2. Creed 2 takes everything good from Creed 1, and it just doubled down on it in just an amazing way. Yeah, number 6, Rocky 4. Love Rocky 4. It is kind of just like a action crazy montages every second, but that's what I love about it. It's the soundtrack. I think it's the best soundtrack in film history. One of the best. I think it is the best soundtrack of all time. And it's just a fun movie to watch. It's not really big, like emotional. Even like the stuff with like Apollo dying. Yes, emotional, but like it's like right before there's a training montage, and then right after that there's another training montage. I'm like, whoa! It's like a montage. I kind of feel like the story wasn't really there. It's just more like giving the most epic story ever in montages, which I'm fine with because I'm not gonna lie, they're awesome. Number 5, Rocky 3. I wish, like I said, I wish Rocky 3 could go higher. I love that film so much, but gotta put number 5. Yeah, number 4, Creed 2. I'll say Creed 2 and Rocky 3 are kind of tied for me, but I put Creed 2 higher just because the whole stuff, the Dragos and the family of the Dragos, that stuff's amazing, and the training montage is amazing. The final fight's amazing. Such a great final fight, and everything about it, the Rocky and Adonis' arc in this when he has his kid, amazing movie. And also kind of one of my first introductions to Rocky. Not really, I'd seen Rocky Balboa before a little, but I wasn't really heavily into Rocky until Creed 2. Yeah, number 3, Rocky 2. To this day, the most underrated sequel of all time. Number 2, Rocky Balboa. Love this film, really underrated. Whoa, baby! Of course, number 1, Rocky. My favorite film of all time. Gotta love Rocky. The best Rambo. I gotta go with the first one. Rambo 4, or it's not really called Rambo 4, it's just called Rambo, is a good runner-up. But The First Blood is one of the best character studies of all time, at least far as for a soldier. And I think it's also a great action movie, great acting, and just a great thriller to watch. It's just a great drama. And Rambo 2 is more just action. That's it. Rambo 3 is also just action, but I think Rambo 3 I think it's overhated, but it's just a little different. I feel like it's action, but they also try to add this big story in it that doesn't that I don't really care about, like Rocky, I mean Rambo, and this that one kid that he meets in where were they at? Were they in I forgot where they were. Where were they in Rambo 3? Was that Afghanistan? Where was Rambo in Rambo 3? I think it was Afghanistan. But there's this one kid, and they start trying to grow like a bond between Rambo and this kid, and they could have been good, but it just felt cheesy. I don't think it was. It was just in the yeah. Where was yeah, Afghanistan, that's right. So and then yeah, Rambo 4 is a really dark film. It's about Rambo. He's older, he's in Thailand. The movie starts out with clips of real dead bodies. So it really sets the tone. It shows clips of real like dead people, which I was like, holy I thought I didn't know that till after I watched the movie. So thank goodness, because I probably wouldn't have been creeped out. I probably would not have watched it because I was like 12 when I watched it. So it was just weird. But it's about Burma, of course, all the stuff that's happening there. I think it's not happening anymore, but it was happening pretty bad there. Rambo was in Thailand. These missionaries want to go to Burma to, you know, I believe it was to like preach gospel and everything. Rambo's basically telling them, do not go down there, do not go down there. They still go and they get captured. And then Rambo, he kind of starts, I wouldn't fall in love, but I think he starts growing a bond with this one girl there. And then Rambo, he goes down there and goes freaking Rambo mode and kills them all. And one of the most awesome action scenes of all time. The Last Blood's amazing as well. Some Bill said it feels out of place. It doesn't. The Rambo and Rambo Last Blood feels out of place. Doesn't feel like the Rambo character. And yes, it kind of is a dark horse in the Rambo. I think it doesn't really feel like a Rambo. It feels like a random Stallone movie. It doesn't really feel like a Rambo movie, but it was such good action, such a good arc, and such a good plot and story. I love Rambo Last Blood. And I watched 10 Feet there. It was great. Appreciate it. Thank you, so. Yeah, Creed 1 is amazing. It was amazing. I feel like, and yeah, I did put a little low, but I can't really put it over that the original Rockies, like Rocky 4 and Rocky 3. Those films have a special place in my heart. And Creed, I love it, but I can't put it over those. I also can't put it over Rocky 2 or Rocky 1 or Balboa. And I don't want to put it over Creed 2 as well. So I fortunately had to put it down a little lower than I wanted to, but, you know, because I had to. Wasn't Rocky and Rusi in one of those movies? Wasn't Rocky and Rusa? Right, Rusa? What do you mean? I'm not sure what that is. Do you watch family movies in chronological order? I mean, there's not really a chronological order for it. It's just kind of like in it's just in straight. I mean, there's not really prequels or anything. It's just Rambo 1, Rambo 2, Rambo 3, Rambo 4, Rambo Last Blood. The release date order is the exact same as the story in order. Yeah, we learn a couple things about Rambo's past later on in the movies, but I wouldn't really consider those prequels. I want a Rambo prequel, because there's a lot about stuff about Rambo's story that we don't know about, like his time in Vietnam, his childhood, and everything. I believe it's rumored that he was kind of raised by like Indians, and he was raised like on a farm, of course, and then that he got drafted in the Vietnam during the drafting, and then you know he had a lot of good friends, and then he eventually lost them all. Then he basically became a killing machine. Oh, sorry, I read that wrong. That's Russia. I thought you were saying like Russia or something. The country. Oh yeah, my fault. Sorry, I'm kind of an idiot here. I don't know how I did not read that Russia. Whoops. Yeah, Iraqi 4 takes place in Russia because of course Drago comes from Russia, and they fight. They do fight in Russia. The movie. I don't think it was actually filmed in Russia though. I believe it was filmed more around the Canada area. But I'm not sure. I don't believe it's filmed in Russia because I remember watching behind the scenes of something, and I'm pretty sure that it was in a studio. The Rocky 4 final fight. I don't believe it was actually filmed in Russia. And then the whole training montage of him in the snow. I believe that was filmed in either Colorado areas or it was filmed in the around the Canada areas. It was filmed. I know it was filmed in America. I think so. I'll have to research it, but it does take place in Russia though. But as far as filmed, I'm not exactly sure. But yeah. Uh yeah, but Rocky 4 is amazing. I still rewatch that soundtrack. Such a good soundtrack. The songs in there are amazing. Love them. And the training montage, or I could say the training montages in Rocky 4, there's really a training montage of Rocky. And it shows him walking back to the house. Adrian's there. They talk for like a 1 minute time. They hug, and then another training montage happens. And then after that training montage, goes right to the fight. Then the fight happens, and then there's a training montage in the fight. It's literally crazy how much. And then before they get to Russia, there's a training montage of them flying there, and before that, there's a training montage of him in a car driving and resyncing of everything that happened. There's so many training montages. The opening scene of Rocky 4 is a training montage. So hey, now I'm not even gonna bother it. It's awesome. How can how can I, even if it seems a little slopey, if it's good, if it's fun to watch, where am I to say it's bad? And I love Rocky 4. And the story, it still has good stuff to it. I think Drago is nice. And the whole stuff of Rocky and Adrian, of Adrian not wanting him to fight Drago and Rocky saying he's a fighter. It's what he's supposed to do. It's who he is. I feel like that was good stuff. Of course, it was kind of undershadowed by the training montages, but I don't know. I still like it. Definitely one of the most rewatchable Rockies. I might rewatch it tonight if I have time. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna end this Stallone Network now. A little shorter one. Of course, there's not like big news. Still, I don't think Stallone's filming anything currently. I know he has a couple films in the work. Expendables 4 will come out September 22nd, so stay up for that. I'll definitely watch that in theater. I'm not sure if it'll be the last Expendables, but we'll see. I will start to make more Rocky What Ifs. Like I said, if you haven't seen it already, I recommend checking it out. I did a Rocky What If Rocky retired to Rocky 2. I plan to make more Rocky What Ifs, talking about what would change the franchise if this event changed differently. I also do a couple what ifs of Rambo. Like I said, there's not that much to do with Rambo as much as there is to do with Rocky, but I will still think of something. Anyway, I'll see you guys next Monday. I actually believe I may be gone Monday, but I'm not exactly sure yet because I'm gonna be going somewhere soon, and I'm not sure when we're gonna be back. So if I don't go live Monday night, I will put something on my community tab saying I'll do it later that week or next week. So I should be here next Monday, but I'll have to see because I'm still unsure when we're coming back from my vacation. But I'll see you guys next time. Always remember, keep punching. Peace.